friends, nobody's thinking. But somewhere in the shadows, something's watching, waiting. We always believe it won't be us. The predators don't care who they hunt, so make a pact before you go. All for one, we bring them home. No one wanders off alone. No one leaves without their phone. 'Cause we don't want another name, another search that starts at dawn, another headline, someone gone. Make sure everyone gets home tonight. No one left behind. I don't wanna be the DD, alright. Next time's on me. But the one who saves a life tonight, that hero could be you. Doesn't matter if it's girls or guys out on the town. Count the heads before you leave, never let your guard down. Don't let your friend turn into a search. Don't let Nancy Grace cover the worst. So make a pact before you go. All for one, we bring them home. No one wanders off alone. No one leaves without their phone. 'Cause we don't want another name, another search that starts at dawn, another headline, someone gone. Make sure everyone gets home tonight. No one left behind. Right chair pulling up, match the plate, check the driver's face. Share that trip with everyone and make sure somebody waits. She got in an Uber, is what they told the police. Now there are posters on the poles and a family with no peace. The bright lights flash, music plays, everyone's having fun, not thinking. But the predator is plotting, calculating. Don't let the darkness claim your friends. Don't let that be the end of the story. Telephone poles with faces we recognize, families torn apart searching for you. All because we thought it won't be us. All because we didn't make a fuss. Could you talk before you go? All for one, we bring them home. Could you check in when you make it back? That's the deal, that's the pact. We don't want another friend who will never come home again. Stick together, watch each other's backs. Make sure everyone gets home tonight. The pack sticks together. All for one and one for all. Going out should be fun, so let's make sure we all see the morning sun. Make the pact, keep your promise. This isn't a game we're gonna lose. No one wanders off alone. We protect our crew we choose. No one gets left behind. Everyone gets left behind. No one gets left behind. No one gets left behind.
Live on the air, Trial Junkies United presents Justice After Dark with your host, Z. Something happened with your mic.
Uh-oh. Something happened with my mic.
It's live now. It wasn't just a moment ago.
Okay.
So they missed all that. Sorry.
Phallic, can you hear me now? Hello. Who can hear me? Okay, good. Let's see. We have Irish and Fala and Simi, our beautiful mods. We have Therapist You Know, Mustang, Sleuthy Sweetheart, Furqua. And of course, Josh is here. Yay. And Moo got a shout out over on his channel earlier tonight. Mustang. Let's see. Have I missed anybody? I hope not. This is going to be a crazy one, okay? Katrina knows about this case, and I did not know our other mod, Katrina, knew about the case. So she might be able to help clear up some things as we go along, because this one is a missing person, and she's been missing for 22 months, okay? Let's get started. There's Katrina. Love it. So, welcome and greetings to our trial junkies, our truth seekers, and our justice warriors. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice with my ride or die doc riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt and the system fails. We're ready to shine a light on the forgotten stories society prefers to leave buried. Yeah, Irish, love to our lurkers too. Buckle up. The path ahead is going to be bumpy as we lead you through another section of the nightmare they call our justice system. Doc, are you ready to ride?
Ready to rock and roll?
Yes, we are. And let's start with who Marissa was. Marissa happened to be a young lady that was 25 years old. She had 5 children. She was biracial. This is a picture of her mom and her sister. And she lived in High Point, North Carolina with her mother and Sarah and her sister Emma and her 5 children. One of her kids, they said, was disabled. Her mother had some serious health conditions, and so she also helped her mom. She was a single mom that was working at the Waffle House, showing up for her regulars, showing up for her kids, and showing up every day. And it wasn't easy for her. She'd had some rocky times in her life, but, she was doing what she needed to do to provide for her children. They said she was funny, caring, giving, a social butterfly. She loved social media. And they said since she was a teenager, it was her house everyone wanted to be at. She was generous with her family, her world. She was also, just a 25-year-old mother. And, sometimes a mother, you need a night away from your kids. That's understandable. You deserve to go out, hear some music, some laughter, have a few hours where nobody calls you mom, just Marissa. And you can't blame her for that. And that's what she was doing on the night of January 13th, 2024, being Marissa. And she hasn't been seen since. Okay, Josh has been to High Point before. What we know about this Saturday night, okay? Her sister Emma said that Marissa told her she actually called off work. Oh, that's her mom. Whoops. Maybe I hit too many there. Yeah, I must have not got that picture in there. Anyway, her sister Emma said that she had told her that she wasn't going to go to work. She was going to go to a party, but please don't tell mom. I don't want her to worry. And those were the last words she said to Emma. And then she walked out the door about 9 p.m. Now, a cousin drove Marissa and her friend. And this friend had been staying with her while she was down on her luck, staying at their house. And that was normal for Marissa to take people in. And they went to 117 Sofa Bar and Lounge on North Green Street in Greensboro, about a 30-minute drive from her home. So that's not bad. The cousin dropped them off and left somewhere around 2 a.m. So I guess the cousin was done for the night. Marissa's friend decided she was done for the night. And so she texted Marissa that she was going to head home, and she left. And she left Marissa. And I'm just going to interject here. Our song that I wrote in the beginning, it's really talking about not leaving anyone behind. And it's talking to everybody, but especially young people too. When you plan a night to go out, make the plan to stay together, have your cell phones. Don't send people home by themselves. If someone's going home in an Uber, make sure that, it's watched. That we want to make sure that this person does get home.
Have them call you when they get home or something.
Yeah, exactly, Sleuthy. The buddy system.
Yeah.
We need to start thinking that way. Because you're just out to have a good time, and that's fabulous. But you know what? There are creatures out there that are looking for an opportunity to harm people. It's just the facts. Per Mr. Steve, put air tags in your sneakers and give your DD access to them. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep. Josh, that's a brilliant idea. Even share your location. Have your phone with you, share your location with someone you trust, maybe someone that's not out with you that night, so that they can kind of keep an eye on things. There's nothing wrong with that. So Marissa gets left behind at the parties, and it's in Greensboro. And this is a city they said Marissa didn't know well. And she's with people she didn't know well, but she was having a good time. It's 2 a.m, and they left the club. She was with a male, they said, acquaintance. Okay. So an acquaintance to me is someone that you know, but you might not be like best buds with or friends, but you know who they are. You know the name, So yeah, phones can get tossed, but shoes might stick with you longer. Excellent, Sleuthy. I like that. Hey, Southern Gals here. Dawn, thanks for coming. So they went to an after party, her and this male acquaintance, at an Airbnb. It's a mile away in the 400 block of Gorell Street. Now that's where the night started going wrong. Okay. They said an argument broke out, and we don't have details. We don't know exactly what happened. But this man, I guess, that had taken her to the party goes ahead and takes her over to an Exxon gas station. It was only about, they said, a mile away. Wasn't that far. And he told her to go inside and purchase some things. And while she's inside the store grabbing things he asked her to pick up, he took off. He took her phone with him, but he did throw her other stuff supposedly out of the car. And he didn't come back.
Who was
so
this
she's
winner?
Stranded. What, babe?
Who was this winner?
We don't have a name. We're just going to call him Idiot Boy. Idiot Boy B. Because there's a few idiot boys in this story.
Okay.
Yeah. So Idiot Boy B leaves her stranded at the Exxon station at 3:40 in the morning. No phone, no contacts, no way home. Dawn, awesome. I'm glad you covered it. I mean, we just can't say enough right now for getting the family some answers. But let's 3:40 in the morning, because how many of you guys know someone's phone number off the top of your head? Put a 1 in the chat if you know somebody's phone number off the top of your head.
I know yours.
And I know yours. And that's good. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't know anybody else's phone number, and that's important. Think about it, because and let me tell you, when Doc, before he had his brain surgery, this man knew phone numbers, even though he had a cell phone. He knew people's phone numbers. It was freaky. He was a freak. I'm just saying. Okay.
Yep.
It's just between us. Don't tell him.
I was just missing the little one-horned freak. That's all.
Yeah, little one-horned freak. One of our favorite movies.
Name that movie if you know what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Simmy, you know your mama's number? Yeah. My mom has been gone since 2001. And I still remember her and my father's phone number. Yeah. But so maybe that's something we all need to consider. Learn a couple of phone numbers. Could save our life. We don't know. So she borrows a phone. And here's where I need to listen carefully because actually, you know what? Let's play the phone, the 911 call, because I think people need to hear it. Do you have that keyed up, Doc?
Yep. It's coming right at you.
Okay.
Guilford Metro 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I needed the contact to the non-emergency number.
It comes into the same center. I can try to help you while I have you on the phone, and I can give you the
Okay,
number for
yes.
future use.
I don't know where I am in Greensboro. I just got all my stuff throughout the car. He took off with my phone. I have no clue where I'm at. I have no numbers, nothing.
Are you at a business?
I am at a store, yes. I'm at a Synergy.
Are you at an Exxon?
Is
It
this
looks like you're at
Exxon?
801 East Market.
Okay, it's an Exxon, yes.
Okay, what's your name? Are you hurt and needed an ambulance?
No, I'm not. But I mean, like, he told me to come into the store and grab some shit and, like, took off on me. And I don't know where I'm at. I'm in the middle of Greensboro. He took my phone. I don't have my phone. Yes, back to my house.
All right, what are you wearing so officers can identify you
No,
when
he
they
took
get
my
there?
shit. You said what?
What are you wearing so officers can identify you when they get there?
I'm wearing some blue jeans and a white shirt with some yellow sneakers. That's not going to help my problem, though, ma'am. I'm stuck all the way in Greensboro, and I don't know where I'm at.
Okay, you just told me you're at an Exxon.
Yes, but
Okay,
in order for me to get back home, I don't have any of my contacts.
Okay, I'm going to send an officer out there to see if they can help you in any way.
Okay.
All right, they'll be there as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. So now we've heard the 911 call. And there's a couple of things I want to point out. Number one, she didn't say it was an emergency. She was actually asking for the non-emergency number. And let's give a shout out to the 911 operator because she told her, well, it's going to come into the same center. I've got you on the phone. Can I help you? So it wasn't someone trying to push her off. And, it was someone that was, okay, let me help you. And she asked her, do you need an ambulance? And she says, no, it's not an emergency. She said, this guy just told me to come in and purchase some stuff. And then he left and took my stuff. Okay. It's hard to tell. She does not sound, to me, she doesn't sound scared. She's stating facts.
Yeah.
You can tell she's talking to people in the background too, right? Did you hear that, Doc?
Yeah.
When
She missed one of the first time that the operator asked her what she was wearing. I think she missed that the first time. So
exactly. And Katrina, you're right. I thought the 911 operator did an awesome job with this call.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to give her credit because she was asking if she needed assistance, if she needs help, so she was ready for, is this an emergency? And Marissa's telling her, no, it's not. Okay. But her biggest concern was she didn't know where she was and that she also no longer had her phone. So she didn't have contact numbers. And that would probably be the scariest part, right? Is that you don't have contact numbers.
Yeah. I remember she's in Greensboro, which she's out of her element, so
Right.
she had,
Yeah.
just as a reference. I mean, my job sent me down to Monterrey, Mexico one time, and I was driving around, and all of a sudden I was in an area where I didn't know where I was. And I had to stop at a bank to ask for directions to get back to my hotel. So, it's an eerie feeling, being out of your element like that.
Yeah, it really is. Josh, great idea. Write a few of those numbers out and put them in your wallet so you have something with you. I like that idea. And so, and actually, you can hear that the girl was the girl on the 911 call. She was able to track where she was. She goes, "You're at an Exxon station." So she got it locked in. She knew where she was. "I'm going to send someone, give me a description of what you're wearing, and that way they'll be able to help you out." Okay, sounds great. So what happened? Because even Marissa told her, "Well, the police coming is not going to help my problem. I'm stuck in Greensboro and I don't know where I'm at." So she just wanted to go home. That's basically what it was. She was ready to go home and she didn't have her phone numbers. So what happens? Well, what happens is somebody offers her a ride and she says yes. And it's yes, back to my house. So the police arrived at about 4:21. They said it was about 39 minutes after her call. Now that's important. Number one, this is a Sunday early morning, so it's a weekend. Weekends, police get a lot of calls. Let's be honest. Weekends, that's when calls come in from all sorts of things. 39 minutes for a non-emergency situation is actually good. There's nothing wrong with that. You cannot blame the cops that it took them 39 minutes.
They did, I think, exceptional for a non-emergency situation.
Yeah, because it was a young woman that was lost, but she said she was in a safe place, right? She's in an Exxon station with people. So you wouldn't be rushing with red lights. Okay, that makes sense. So when they got there, she was gone, and the store clerk told the officer she got a ride from a customer. Now, they said he didn't search the area, but why would he? She got a ride. Later, there is footage that is seen where she gets into the car of another guy. This other guy was known to her, and his name was Shawn. So, but let me explain something else that happened. Her call came in at 3:40, 4:19 they arrived, or they're dispatched because there was a delay. What was the delay? While she's making her call to 911, there's another call that comes in to the exact same address she had just been at that Airbnb at a house party. And the Airbnb, the caller said they're doing drugs, lots of guns, and underage girls. Now, this was about the same time she's calling. Here's my question. Did idiot boy B that dropped her off and took off, did he use her phone? I don't know if they traced that caller's phone number. No, Sleuthy, you're not jumping in anybody's white van. I don't care if they offer you candy and you know them. Stay out of the van. But so think about that. Who called the 911 call at the address she was just at? So when the police were supposed to come to her, they get sidetracked to go to this call. Now, the police go, and they look the place over. They don't find anything. Okay. So then they go right over to where Marissa is, because they said it was only like, it took them 3 minutes to get there. From the Airbnb to the Exxon, it took them 3 minutes, and she's gone. So they found no drugs, no guns, no minors. They cleared that house at 4:17 a.m. They get to the Exxon at 4:19 a.m. 3 minutes. So what happens next? Because then where's Marissa? Well, Marissa, her father and her mother. Well, let's first start with who picked her up. His name was Shawn. And the surveillance video shows her getting in a car with this other person. Now, the only thing she doesn't have is her phone, because here's the picture of her at the Exxon that night. And you can see her purse sitting on the ledge. Okay. So her purse is there, but she doesn't have the cell phone. And to her, that's the most important part, because that's where her numbers are. So the police did identify the driver, and they interviewed him. Now, they've classified him as a witness, which has upset her family. And his name is Shawn. I'm not giving you any more. But Marissa's mother, Sarah, has said that he was stalking her daughter before she disappeared. I don't know. I don't know what the connection between these two were. I've tried to research, pulling up information. It's been hard to get to. I know Katrina knows the story a little bit more. She may know, and if she does, she can plop it in there. But I think he was known to her, but she got in with him. Now, her mother is saying this isn't like Marissa to do. Hey, patriotism, thanks for coming. But my question is, it's 3:40 in the morning. You're desperate. You just want to get home to your babies, and you might get in with someone. At least you have it. He's an acquaintance. You know who he is. So you might take that ride. And so she gets in voluntarily, and they're still upset because he's not listed as a suspect. And that could be because you don't want to scare him off if they think he is one. He was the last seen with her. So yeah, he should be considered one. But the cops have to try and build a case. It's not just, oh, you were the last one with her, you did it. You know, there's a lot going into a case. Now, he was in prison before for some federal firearms, some false statements and things like that. And that's all I found out on him. Oh, and he was convicted of marijuana possession. So his former residence was listed in Hampton, Virginia. Now that kind of is important because Hampton is 41 minutes away from Jamestown, Virginia. And why does this matter? Because in the days after Marissa disappeared, someone was accessing her social media accounts and using them to have casual conversations. One of those conversations involved asking someone to meet them in Jamestown, Virginia. So, but we know the person that supposedly had her phone was Idiot Boy B. Did Shawn get her phone? Did Shawn and Idiot Boy B know each other? We don't know. Everybody is trying to read into it, and we just don't know. But let's talk about what happened after she left the Exxon. Someone used Shawn's Facebook account to send a message to one of Marissa's friends. Now that's odd. But could he have allowed her to do that because she didn't have her phone? At 5 a.m., Marissa called her father's phone. So she was alive. Her father heard her voice. Okay? She was calling from Shawn's phone she asked to speak to her friend who was staying at the house and had gone to the party with her. So her dad takes the phone up there, and the friend is asleep in Marissa's bed, and he hands her the phone. The friend said just a few words. It wasn't a big conversation. She hung up. She goes back to sleep. Okay, that's odd. Now, when her mother wakes up around noon the next day, she discovers she had some missed calls that came in on her phone from an unknown number. Sarah believes it was Marissa trying to reach her. We don't know. It could have been. I don't know if she checked with her husband to see if they had the same phone, if the number that Marissa called him on, if it matched the numbers that Sarah got. I don't know, but she thinks these are calls from Sarah and she didn't wake up. But whoever was on the other end of this phone number that Sarah had, Sarah texted, and asked if Marissa was there. And they said Marissa was asleep. Then Sarah said, "Can I speak to her?" Then the person says, "She just walked to the store." Sarah asked for the address. They gave her an address for Sheetz convenience store. So I have a feeling they called and Marissa wasn't there and had never been there. And then that number stopped answering and the text stopped being returned. Now, when Marissa's friend woke up around lunchtime, Sarah asked her, "What was the call that you had with Marissa?" Because she had found out Marissa had gone to Greensboro and had not gone to work. And so she told her that, Marissa was trying to get home and that she asked her to get her phone back from the guy who took it, Idiot Guy B. Okay? But the girlfriend told her, "I don't know this guy. I've never met him." Now, Sarah finds this suspicious. Dawn, I have questions for the friend too. And Sarah found it suspicious that her friend disregarded the fact that Marissa was trying to get home and just went back to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you give a message to dad? I mean,
yeah, her dad's standing right there.
Yeah.
He's handed you his phone. Why wouldn't you say Marissa's having trouble getting home? Why didn't Marissa tell her dad,
Yeah.
"I need a ride"?
Yep.
Was she still trying to hide the fact that, did they still think she was at work at Waffle House? And she was still trying to cover up that she had gone out to Greensboro? We don't know. But a little bit after the woman woke up, she packed her bags and she left on January 14th, the day Marissa was gone. She's refused to speak to Marissa's parents ever since. Sarah did get, I think, some text messages or something from her, but she never personally spoke to her. And she told her that she didn't fight Marissa that night, which is an interesting idea. Why would you be telling me you didn't fight with my daughter that night? And then she said, "Keep my name out of the case because she doesn't want to be in danger." Okay, that gives me questions.
Yeah.
Why would you be in danger for talking to the family? Why would you be in danger if your name gets out there? What happened at that party?
Somebody connected there has to be in the know about what happened. I mean,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And this is her mom, Sarah. And Sarah reached out to Shawn on Facebook asking if he'd heard from Marissa. Okay. And at 8:02 a.m., he replied, "Nah, still didn't yet." The same day at 4 p.m., they finally filed a missing persons report, you know, and the report was filed. It was listed, but this was the weird thing. On the missing persons report, it was listed that the last known location was Club 117, not the Exxon station. Why? Why didn't they list the Exxon station? Did someone see her at 117 after all of this? Would the club have been closed at 4 something in the morning? See, would that have even been open? So how did the 117 nightclub get listed as her last known location? I have questions about that. Okay. Because we know the last sighting supposedly is on camera at the Exxon, because they see her getting into a vehicle with Shawn. Now, another thing that doesn't sit well with me about this was they put flyers up at the Exxon station because that to them was the last place she had been seen. Okay, so they wanted her face visible. They wanted people who walked into that station, people who might have been there that night, to see her and remember. But the Exxon workers kept taking the flyers down. So when the family asked why, they were told that one of the men seen with Marissa on surveillance footage was a regular customer, and he was bothered by the posters.
Oh,
So,
isn't that terrible?
Yeah. So was it idiot boy B that dropped her off and left her? Or was it Shawn? Which one of them was the regular customer that was bothered? Just because some missing flyers were going up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Like someone doesn't want to be found?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was asking for the staff to take them down, and sometimes he would take them down himself. You know, a man seen on camera with a missing woman, a regular at the last place she was seen alive, and his response is to remove her face from the walls. That gives me a lot of questions.
Well.
You know, and I wonder, you know, what footage the police have, because you have her leaving, getting into the car. You know where he used to live. You know his criminal history. You know her mom says he was stalking her daughter, but I don't know if there was ever any reports made. There might not have been. You know, someone was using her social media to send people on a fictional chase to Virginia after she disappeared. Why? You know, I don't know if they ever pinged her phone. You know, this man that they're calling a witness, we got some questions for him. And I'm sure the police do too. And they, like I said, they might not be calling him a suspect so that maybe eventually he puts his guard down and something comes up. I don't know. And the calls that went into the 911 over that Airbnb, you know, that they were sent to that location instead of coming right to the Exxon. They came about the same time. So could it have been idiot boy B, when he took off with her phone, used her phone to call 911? I don't know if they were able to track that number. That would be an interesting question to ask. Mm-hmm. You know, where did that 911 call come from? And if it was the guy that took Marissa's phone, why was he calling 911 on the party they just left? There's some serious questions that need to be answered. We have her on camera. We have her audio at the Exxon, you know, and I understand the family. They've said they think she's being trafficked. I don't know about that. I'm just going to be honest, because, you know, they think that she was set up. by all three of these guys that she was with that night. And to me, that's just too much of a coincidence. You'd have to have three people that absolutely knew where everybody was. It would be like putting the peanut under 3 cups and you're moving them around and trying to remember where you put the peanut. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was more of a situation that it was convenient. Yeah, the first guy. We have the first guy that she was out with. Then we have Idiot Boy B, and then we have Shawn. So there were 3 different dudes. So it gets very confusing. And I know there have been people that have, tried to, tell the family that they think she was trafficked. They saw her at Motel 6 with, Shawn. But unless these were all backed up, we don't know. They could just be people starting stuff, because that does happen, sadly, in these cases. Shawn picked her up, this supposed stalker, but we don't know. Like I said, we don't know if there was ever any, did she ever report him as a stalker? Who knew, her mother's saying this. So was it just a guy that it irritated her? It could have been. Did that mean he actually stalked her? Did they all still kind of run in the same friend group? We don't know. There's a lot of questions that aren't being answered in this whole case. That's what's so frustrating. Now, there are cameras that point straight at the Airbnb from across the road, because there's a place called the Magnolia Hotel that has security cameras. Now, I don't know if the police got them. I don't know. If they did, what did they see? Did they see Marissa leave? Did they see her come back? Did she go back to the Airbnb? We don't know. Now, Sarah has said someone told her that her daughter had been drugged. I don't know about you, but she did not sound drugged on the 911 call.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
She sounded more frustrated
Mm-hmm.
and bothered and just upset with Idiot Boy B that had dumped her. Like she'd like to get a hold of him.
And she was distracted by the conversation she was trying to carry on with somebody in the store too. So
yeah. So was that Shawn? Don't know. It could have been. Because when you're in that kind of a situation and you see a guy, maybe it's someone that has asked you out before, you're irritated with him, you call him your stalker, but you just want to get home and you're like, yeah, I'll take a ride. Take me home.
Yeah, the chat's probably right. I mean, fella said drunk, yes. Drug, no. Southern gal said tired. Yeah, it's. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's part of it. So
yeah, because it's 3:40 in the morning.
Yep.
You've been out partying. You've probably had some drinks. Yeah, you might have had, but she didn't sound overly drunk. And when you see that picture of her standing there, she's got her arms crossed. She looks mad. To me, she just looks PO'd, like she cannot believe how this night is ending. I took off work for this, and this is the mess I've gotten myself into. You also wonder, did she see something at that party that she shouldn't have seen? Did they think she called 911 on them if those kind of activities were going on before the police got there? But they must have had warning, because they cleaned that place up for the police to walk through. She used I think she used the phone at the gas station, Josh. She just borrowed a phone to call 911. So it wasn't her phone. Yeah, Dawn, I agree. I think she saw something or heard something that she shouldn't have. She didn't sound panicked about seeing something, because she might have been smart enough to know, I'm not, I just want to go home. I'm not going to get involved. Because she'd had, in her younger years, she been a bit of a wild child, you know. She had, had a drug possession. So, she'd seen a thing or two. Um, that doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve justice and that she wasn't a good mom, because everybody said she was an excellent mother and she loved her children. So I think it was a situation where she wanted to go home. That was it. And that's why I think she was willing to get in the vehicle with someone, even if it was someone that she normally wouldn't take a ride from. Now, the family has investigated, and, so many wild ideas have come out on this case. They're hoping they're still going to find her. Um, exactly, Fala. A lot of people do in their younger years.
They've never actually said what Shawn, where he dropped her off at, or
no. We don't have any information on that, just that they consider him a witness. So did he drop her off at the Airbnb and there is footage of her going back in? I don't know. Did he go with her into the Airbnb? Because eventually she uses his phone at 5:00.
Yeah.
So they were still together. So where were they? Why would he take her back to the Airbnb? Did he have business he was still attending to, or was there something still going on? Yeah, they do have Ring cameras. And also that motel that was across the street. See, they have cameras. So I'm sure the police know a lot more than they're telling.
Somebody does.
And it's frustrating that they won't tell the family. But sometimes there's a reason, and it could be because the family shares too much information. And if you're trying to build a case against someone, you might not want them to know you're coming for them. You know what I'm saying? And if you give too much information, it just helps them cover their tracks. And I understand they just want her home. They want her home and they want her safe. And I think part of the trafficking situation and saying that she was trafficked is that they think she's still, that means she's still alive. We don't know.
Gives them some kind of hope.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering if that's why they're so adamant that it has to be trafficking. And it could be. I'm not saying it wasn't. But I'm just saying, when you follow everything, because her mother said that Marissa was not someone that would have just gone willingly, that she would have fought and carried on. So that's not someone that traffickers want to mess with. Of course, we do know that they drug these young ladies, but it could be a situation where, was Shawn sent to bring her back to the Airbnb because she did see something? Is that why they called the cops on the Airbnb, to show that, hey, see, nothing here? We don't know. Yeah, Airbnbs are used for parties all the time, Fala. In fact, a lot of cities and states are trying to get bills because crazy parties go on in these Airbnbs, because they rent them out and it's not your home, so you don't care if everybody trashes the place. And then your neighbors, next to the Airbnb are listening to parties that are going all night, and there's people bringing in drugs and alcohol and all sorts of things. There's been some horror stories about what goes on at these parties at Airbnbs. So, not an old person question. You're still a youngin', dear. Yeah, and it is sad that the family is having to follow leads, and I understand their frustration, and it does break my heart that they're not getting the answers. But sadly, sometimes it takes time, and we've seen that with cases. Yeah, Semi, you're right, and that's why they have huge deposits. because they know that there's going to be damage, because people don't care. Sometimes these young people will actually rent them out, and a whole bunch of them will go in and, put money in to rent out a place so that they can absolutely trash it and do illicit stuff like drinking if they're minors and drugs and so. But yeah, it's a whole thing. I agree with you, Val. I'm not spending my money like that either. Yeah. So Sarah is having a very difficult time. She's not sleeping. She's having panic attacks. She's constantly worried, wondering if she's going to get a phone call any day about her daughter. And of course, the police are saying there's no public update at this time. And that makes sense because right now they just don't have the answers and they haven't found her, either alive or deceased. But, Emma and the children and Sarah, they love her so much. And Sarah these are her kids. Aren't they just 5 babies? Oh, that's a handful right there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Brave woman.
Well, one is a handful.
Yeah. You got me. Hey, we got 4 cats. That's wild enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Okay. So Sarah has done her own investigation, even with her health issues. She's been to the Exxon, she's been to the Airbnb, and she's gone through dumpsters, knocked on neighbors' doors, asked about doorbell cameras, passed out flyers. She sent leads whenever she hears something to the detective. She goes, I need her to be at peace and get justice for her. They definitely know more, she says, of the cops. They know a lot, but nobody has come forward with any information. And I think that's the gist of it. Somebody knows something and they just need somebody to break, And what does her friend that was staying with her, what does she know? I think a lot of people know. Sarah described her daughter as a beautiful girl, sweet, caring, empathetic, and wanted to help everyone. She says, my house hasn't been empty since Marissa was 14 or 15 because she had friends that we opened up our home for. She said, Marissa makes people laugh. She can turn the littlest thing into a lot of fun. And she said Marissa was her best friend, and that the two were near constant contact through text messages. Sarah said Marissa's avid on social media, but hasn't been on social media since, and her phone has been turned off. Her cousin Jamel said she's a very optimistic person. She's a great person to be around. Her sister Emma gave birth to her first child, a little girl, while her sister was missing. She says Marissa had wanted Emma to have a baby more than almost anything. She never got to meet her niece. I never went a few hours without talking to her. Every little message and ping, it's not her, and I'm really scared it's never going to be her. She said my eldest niece, Marissa's oldest daughter, had a little picture at Thanksgiving and sat at the table with the picture as if mommy was here. So she had her mom's picture sitting at the table with them. She says, at least I can look over and see mommy, even though she's not here. I can still see her. And that breaks your heart. 5 little kids, they don't know where mommy is. Mm-hmm. Now, the one report said that their father has taken them. There were other reports that said they were put into foster care because Sarah can't care for them. I don't know. I'm hoping they're with their father, But, she said the children asked her, Nana, you're still looking for mommy, right? We're going to find mommy, right? And Sarah said, that's what keeps me going. She said, I'll cry, not for myself, but for the pain my grandkids are going through. Miss Marissa's children believe they can find their mother, and this family believes they can bring her home. And, and that's what we hope for. And we're in the battery down. Okay, so let's talk about our missing people. Remember, you guys, Put the cell phones down when you're out and about. Look at the faces. We know some people leave voluntarily and then they get in trouble and can't come home. We do know trafficking is real, and there are missing people everywhere, and sometimes they're hiding in plain sight and nobody notices. But let's help. Let's bring someone home. Trust your instincts. If you recognize someone from today or something just doesn't seem right about a situation, don't assume someone else is going to do it. Call 911. You can also send tips, the number 4, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com to us. And our first one, this is James Stephen Rice. He's 70 years old. He is a Cherokee Nation elder and a U.S. Navy veteran. He's been missing since February 1st of 2025, over a year. From Tishomingo, Oklahoma, I think. I butchered that.
Tishomingo?
Oh, well. Tishomingo? Okay. So the Cherokee Nation, he's 6 foot, 250 pounds, blue eyes, gray hair, shoulder length. He was last seen wearing a U.S. Navy veteran hat and a camouflage jacket. He was seen by his family at a residence on West Blue River Road. And he stated he was traveling to Dallas, Texas. He hasn't been heard from since. Contact Chickasaw Light Horse Police Department at 580-436-1166. This is Jennifer Santana. She's 17. She's gone missing since April 24th of 2026. She was at the Matthews Festival Shopping Center in Matthews, North Carolina. Now, she's Hispanic. She's 5'3", weighs 160 pounds, has long black hair and brown eyes. She was seen wearing a long black t-shirt and black sweatpants. If you have any information, you can contact 704-847-555 or contact 911. Her case number is 2026-04-24008. Sadly, I hope they've checked with ICE.
Yeah,
not that they will probably tell.
That's what I was just thinking too.
Yeah, that's always a concern. And also some of the thugs that work for ICE, I'm sorry, I don't trust them that they would not harm a young girl, because there have been some horror stories coming out. We will be following up on that. Now, this is Jonathan Alexander. He's 25. He's been missing since February 24th from Manhattan, New York. He is 5'6" with black hair and brown eyes. Jonathan had been missing from Manhattan since February 24th. His family is desperate. They've put their personal phone numbers out. Sterling Gastineau, 864-670-1966. Jimmy Gastineau, 864-562-0420. Starler Davis, 704-466-1173. Kenneth George, 864-376-8994. New York's missing persons is 212-694-7781. And please, nobody call that family unless you know something. If you know something, call them. But don't play games. People that play games like that have no use for you. This is Jocelyn Sundin. She's 16. She's been missing since April 23rd of 2026. She's a native from Tuba City, Arizona. And they said she could be in Flagstaff. She's 5'4", 130 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair. Now, Jocelyn is on prescribed medication, so they really are desperate to find her. The Navajo Police Department in Tuba City is 928-283-3111 or 928-283-3112. Now we have Natasha Harper. She's 32. She was last heard from on March 24th of 2026. She's of the First Nations in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. She's 5'5", 160 pounds, black hair with blonde tips on the end. Her eyes are brown. Please contact Morgan's Warriors search team at 431-996-1442. 3966 or contact@morganswarriors.com. They have a lot of direct messaging on their social media. You can use that also. This poor little guy, I'm going to butcher his name. What do you think, Doc?
Joaquin?
Okay. Yellowbird. He's 15. April 13th of 2026. He was Lincoln, Nebraska. He's native, 5'3", 115 pounds. Brown hair or brown eyes, black hair, last seen wearing a white shirt, black pants, black and gray jacket, and a black ski mask. If you have information, contact Lincoln Police Department at 402-441-6000 or Nebraska's Missing Persons Clearinghouse at 877-441-LOST, L-O-S-T. You know, they said the events that took place that night have become a mystery. Whoops. I'm getting into my next section.
Mm-hmm.
So let's find that little guy. 15. He needs to go home. Now, we know it's a total mystery what happened to Marissa that night, that no one's been able to solve yet. She's 26 years old. She's biracial. She's 5'4". She's 260 pounds. She has brown eyes, black hair. At the time of her appearance, she had long black and blonde braids. She also has tattoos. She has a distinct butterfly near her left eye, a small red heart over her right cheekbone, a dandelion, and a sparrow design on her forearm with the words, "We part to meet again," and the word Ahona with a red flower on her chest. She was last seen wearing a white Tweety Bird t-shirt, blue jeans, and yellow sneakers. Her name is case number, M as in Michael, P as in Paul, 115623. Someone knows something. Someone always does. And if you have information at all, where Marissa is or what happened to her, please contact Greensboro Police Department at 336-373-2222. You can contact them anonymously at Crime Stoppers 336-373-1000. And please, the tiniest bit of information could help. Do the anonymous one. They won't find you, but give the family some peace. And if you're watching this in Greensboro, if you were at that Exxon, if you were at 117, the club, if you were at the Airbnb, you may know something and not even realize it matters. You might have seen somebody that seemed out of place or know people that were there that would give the police more leads. Please make the call. Let the investigator sort out what's relevant. But make the call. Her children and her family they're waiting. They need answers. And that's important. And that's why we covered the story tonight. Remember, every killer and every predator depends on our silence. Please don't give it to them. And if you know something, speak up, because that wasn't a mannequin. It never is. Silence is betrayal has been our motto, and it really requires that we speak up when we know something. So please do. And it means the most to us that you guys come and share these stories with us and that we're able to tell you the stories that might not get as much publicity. I love that Dawn covered this before, because we want anybody that has heard this story, Dawn's audience, my audience, or anybody else that covers it, please, if you have the slightest bit of information, call someone. Every Thursday, we tell our Indigenous and Native brothers and sisters stories. They deserve justice, and they often get forgotten. But we appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and it means the world. Please share the stories. Please do the clicky thing.
The clicky thing. I love
The clicky thing. Well, I'm being professional here, Doc. Can't
well,
you
yeah,
tell?
you got to be technical somewhere.
Yeah. And please, if you can share out our shorts and make a comment on them, it really helps. We're trying to get the algorithms to pick up. Doc's been studying algorithms and changing some stuff. So any way you can help us, we appreciate it. You can buy us a cup of coffee, but we know people have, financial issues these days. So you can help us by doing all that, making comments after the show. It does help. So until then, you guys stay informed, stay compassionate, keep seeking truth, keep demanding justice, never start speaking up. Hey, Doc, you want to tell everybody good night?
Good night, Doc.
We love you all. Remember, criminals never stop, so neither do we. And until next time, we keep fighting for justice. And we'll see you Thursday night. Ciao.
In the shadows of the night, someone's crying, lost from sight. You've got pieces to the puzzle, but you're keeping quiet, staying muzzled. If you know something, say something. Silence is betrayal of the heart. Every truth you're holding back could be the missing part. Don't let fear become complicit when justice needs your voice. If you know something, say something. You still have a choice. Empty chairs at dinner tables, families telling painful tales. You hold answers in your silence while they search through grief and years. The silence you keep has a cost. Someone's child is still lost. Truth doesn't wait forever. Make the call. If you know something, say something. Let your conscience guide you. Every whisper could become thunder for those who've cried. Break the silence, break the pattern, let the truth come to light. If you know something, say something.